Bigbossjock. Day 163 of the protest. This makes the 8th segment. Episode 104 of the radio show. This means this will be the last broadcast live from out here in front of the F.B.I. field office, Redding, California. Yankee Estados Unidos, Yankee USA. Soy yo, el gran jefe. All entro a mí, nuestro único Dios, nuestro Señor. Es quien me ayuda a hacer esa rima. Y de mi parte, yo doy gracias a nuestro único Dios, nuestro Señor. Esa sería la última emisión para hoy día 163 de protesta. Episodio 104 del programa. Radio show del gran jefe. Radio rebelde. A veces se pega mi lengua cuando quiero pronunciar. Ahora casi puedo pronunciar guerra, perro. Eso. La parrillada, the barbecue, the abuse. George. Am I talking George? George Sr.? Frequently was in my life. Gamma Ray. I was one of his many slaves. And it's not that he's the only one I obey, it's that where they're placed in the pyramid, and the higher they're up, well, they have the control. So they walk in the room, they want to show that everyone's subservient. And who's the one giving the orders? Same while, they're so sure in what they're doing, it's worked for years. Their inhibitions, they're not there. They're also the one that's in their middle name, the one that's abused. A lot of coppers today. I say good afternoon to the RPD, and I appreciate the respect they've given me. Not unnecessarily intervening. As I in turn give them respect, I haven't been out here using my normal language, and it did change. I mentioned that at the beginning of the show, talking about 6 months ago. No, I mean, it is too bad. The rhymes are copyrighted. Otherwise, knowing what I know now, I would have changed things. Such as, there's a song called Wreckin' and Ballin', and the cops come a-callin'. Well, I would have wrote it differently, and I did rewrite it. But the one that's copyrighted isn't the way it's written these days. And I came out onto the street keeping pace, meaning even when this is over, I'm not going to go back to the way I did talk, but I'll throw some of that slop once the sides are chosen. Meaning, Yank Sam Blue Blue, who decides to stay with that show, well, that's the opposite side of red. Red, we all know, at the end there'll be reds and no one else. Because there's reds and the rest. And the rest, well, that's Yankee Sam's blue. And reds know what to do. Go on through, take it to blue. Got upset about that. We got a K9 and we're gonna have you in time. Gonna get you for this and that. We're gonna say they could do it right here, right now, if they want to do that. I don't understand what's going on. Yeah, I'm going the same way home that I always go. I'll go right down that street. If you want to pull me over, you're gonna pull me over anywhere that they choose to. Well, I can go around fearful. I'm driving the fewest miles that I can, trying to get the truck. I mean, they let me slide, such as this. Right now, the rear drive line is not in the four-wheel drive. They could pull me over saying that I'm not driving the vehicle as it was intended to be driven, used, operated, meaning it was built to be a four-wheel drive and at times a two-wheel rear-wheel driven drive car, truck. And they can do those kind of technical games. They could pull me over for many other things too. Too small of a mirror. And it's all part of the program and they know why it's there. And if we're going to mention about history, well, they were part of my program. And without my knowledge, pulled me over and over again. Now I understand why Highway Patrol was in my neighborhood. I don't live next to the freeway. And I know I'm claiming I don't have a my anywhere. If I go back to the barbecue, they're both bisexuals, openly. And that's George Sr. with his son George Jr. And his brothers were there also. Disguises. This goes for all the intelligence agents. They wear disguises. And of course there's always an exception. You can feel good, agent, that one's you. And guess who? Well, you're all still wondering, and it's one of you. I mean, I'm speaking right to you. You're the exception, so don't be blue. The disguises they use. I know about the psychology. In '78, a woman that I knew, she was going to have a baby. The baby shared my DNA. She used disguises. So I remember her psychology of her feelings towards what she did when she had the disguise and how that made for the breaking of the psyche, because it did happen to her, regardless of if anyone knows or not. She does. And spiritually she feels that, and it lingers on. Well, it did, and I'm talking back in '78. Well, as I began remembering '78, I remembered other years. Everyone that I know is in the intelligence agencies. I mean, look at you people need to understand. John, he gets $860 a month. But at the same time, he has a federal identity. He puts on disguises. He knows about intelligence work. How is this that we live in such conditions? You get a different impression. And what this has done is the intelligence agents, they have another identity with that disguise. And they create it for mental disorders. They don't divulge the secrets because they're not aware until this I'm not exactly understanding. Electroshock, they're right there. Give them a zap and they start talking, because I remember back. But more than that is conditioning. Whoever's the handler, they give them a certain look and it takes their mind back to the last session of torture, and they're bow wow wow right there. They know how. They answer too. And I think it's more of that. Of course, about not gonna be there anymore. Can't have a copper on the corner without saying it's not that way. I take it as support, and I appreciate RPD. What they're saying is that they see me out here and they're standing down, and that actually I'm not the one that's being a clown. That whoever's pulling the shots, the strings, and the people sing, and that's their subservient, the people who serve them. There's a failure in the power structure. I shouldn't have been out here day one. What was done should have never happened. I've requested that every president summon their legacy, because they're no longer here, have passed on, such as Nixon, Ford, who else is there? Reagan. And I'm not saying they as in paradise. Ronald wasn't nice. He had an affection for children. Many of them do. And I do request that all the living ones be prosecuted. War crimes. Children, soldiers, and when I was an adult, slavery. I'm an executive order. What was asked of me, and I would call them orders, because I mean I was right there at their service, gamma ray. Hideous, perverted. Charges need to be placed. And when this is uncovered, what the people will discover is there's thousands and thousands. Look at it, at all times, I'm 0067. There was 1,000 by, I believe, 78, or was it 82? We're gone, replaced. Yeah, there were none of the first 1,000 by 82. Only a couple, a few. And I've given on the show 3 other names of stim receivers. You people in the public and law enforcement also can walk right up to those individuals. See that they're emitting RF such as I am. That shows that there's a program going on. You people to not care and understand what's wandering around out here at the service of your government. It is. Your performance. You as a responsible citizen, you're not. This is how this has gone on. You're worried about that next election. They'll make that selection. You do play such an important part in your government that the world knows you're responsible, Yankee American. As mentioned earlier, this is the last broadcast. Actually, it won't be. Maybe I'll walk to the truck and I'll do another. No, it won't. Then it'll be too long and people can't share. Bigbossjock. Side of me, our one only God. Father in heaven, Allah. He's who else who do this rhyme. And during my life, He does guide. Today, after 21 years, I found a switch. Yep, I was able to find that switch. I purchased the one I needed. I mean, I understand how it works. And the reason I was unable to do this for 21 years, abuse. And then it takes me to a barbecue, senior and junior. And that's just one event, and the truck was used. The switch, it was part of the conversation. I need to remember the abuse, to remember the conversation, to be able to have the information, knowledge, to understand the switch and that it comes apart, and I just need to buy the bottom part, and it's quite available. I mean, a little difficult to find, but not that difficult. And who kept me from finding that was John. And John was abused to not understand that the fuse lock comes away from the switch, and insisted that he look for the certain one that was together. Couldn't understand that it came apart. But the reason that he couldn't understand that it didn't come apart was because of abuse. So since he was higher than me and they're higher than him, I was unable to be able to fix the truck. And in one part of him, John, he understands exactly how it works. That's the other part, the one that does the things. The other one, that's his first name, I believe, because I analyze him. I try to figure this out. Well, maybe wow, I can get out of the program. If I could just figure it out. They have all the information inside, right there in their minds. All my family members. They don't give up any information. And when there was a gamma ray involved, oh, how they kept me spinning. Good afternoon, Fed agents. And I have to say, good afternoon to RPD, who I've seen quite frequently this afternoon. I'll take that as respect. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate that. It shows people that you are aware I'm out here. And this isn't directed at you, to the department here in this town. I'm saying this all over Yankee territory. And as I've mentioned before, I discourage senseless violence. This is about an organized offense with demands made. If those demands aren't met, things will escalate. But things well thought out, not where people go out, commit acts of senseless violence. And that's what people have been programmed to do here in the Yankee Empire. We've seen it go on for way too long. And that I'm not encouraging. What I am is change, real change, by people going out and taking action. Stop being complacent. Oh, we got Navy. Yeah, he's out today. Haven't seen him in a while. Oh, I shot over his head. I mean, pointing. Shout out. No, I always point my finger and give them, well, it's not a shot. It's a pointer in their direction. Well, I don't have to feel bad. The special agents, they used to come up to me in the street in Iquitos, pull my finger and say, one day you get a real one of these. Show me the gun, put the spin on, gamma ray, and I was their servant. I had no idea that the F.B.I. was operating in Iquitos. Now I understand what's in the charcoal truck. I see, and it's their disguises. You do know them. One day you'll realize who they are. I see. Oh, the amount of money, funds that was spent on me. Little old me. You know how much it costs to fly a Sonic? With 50 people on it? And we're talking, people, when you find out, just get ready. That's all, Reds, Rebels. Yeah, hang on. Because what you thought was, for the vast majority, it is not. Not even close. You're living in an illusion. The reality, things are as perverted as the ideology they're selling to you. The practicing of being immoral, trying to show that as admirable. Everything's backwards, skewed. And when it starts to unravel, people will realize quite fast. For the moment, and for some decades, they've been left in a daze. Deep trance hypnosis, wandering around in the maze, staring at the screen, pushing buttons underneath. Bigbossjock, day 163, coming to an end. Our one only God right here inside, so helps me do this rhyme. And I do say thank you to our one only God, Father in heaven, Allah. Soy yo, el gran F.B.I. All dentro a mí, nuestro único Dios, nuestro Señor. Es que me ayuda a hacer ese rima. Y de mi parte, yo doy gracias a nuestro único Dios, nuestro Señor. Firmando fuera. Hasta mañana, audiencia. Tenganse un buen resto de su día. Firmando fuera.